This episode is brought to you by PetSmart. Imagine life without your pet. Unthinkable, right? That's why taking care of their well-being is job number one. And PetSmart has everything you need to do anything for your pet. PetSmart's expertise in nutrition, training, veterinary care, and more can help you take care of your pet's well-being the same way your pet takes care of yours. Care the way pets do. Shop now at PetSmart.com.
The following message comes from Lucasfilm and Disney Plus, presenting an all-new season of The Mandalorian. The global phenomenon returns and is streaming this Wednesday. Witness The Mandalorian as he explores the galaxy, crossing paths with old allies and new enemies, with the foundling Grogu at his side. The new season of The Mandalorian is streaming this Wednesday, only on Disney Plus.
This is Optimal Relationships Daily, episode 1671, The Importance of Gathering, by Kathy Robinson of AthenaWellness.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to ORD with me, your host and narrator, Greg Audino. Today, we'll be hearing from an author whose work we haven't shared yet on ORD, more so on some of the other shows in our network, as she writes about a variety of different topics. Introducing Kathy Robinson, everyone, and her thoughts on how important it is to make time to gather with the ones you love. Let's get right into this article and start optimizing your life. The Importance of Gathering, by Kathy Robinson of AthenaWellness.com. Does this situation sound familiar? You're attending a wake or a funeral service, chatting with relatives you haven't seen since, well, the last service for a relative who died. You spend time catching up, and as you leave, you find yourself saying something like, "We must get together soon." You mean it when you say it, but back home and in the flow of life, it never materializes. This recently happened to me when a cousin of my mom's passed. He was 85 and a treasured member of our family. As I was uploading pictures to the funeral parlor's website in preparation for his service, I smiled, recalling all the good times these cousins shared in their later years, whether on vacation or at each other's homes. But then, I was struck that almost all of the members of the generation that preceded me, including my mom, have passed. Somehow the kids became the elders. And I got to see these kids, all of my second cousins from Brooklyn, when I attended that May funeral. I was amazed at how easily the conversation flowed with people that I hadn't seen in a long time, and I vowed that we would see each other before the next wake. That reunion happened last week. The unifying thread of the guest list was our great-grandmother, Maria. Maria arrived in this country through Ellis Island in 1903 as a soon-to-be wed teenager. The heartbeat of existence in those days was one square block in Brooklyn, where Maria's children raised their families, our parents. When I was growing up, we cousins made the weekly trip from New Jersey, Staten Island, and Long Island to visit our elders. Last month, this clan of cousins and second cousins gathered, bound by our Brooklyn heritage. Many of them can remember when I was born. We shared collective memories of the neighborhood, the church, the smell of my grandmother's cooking, family celebrations, how we played in the apartment hallway and ate at the kids' table in the kitchen. These are things that no one else knows, and the foundation that made us the adults that we are today. By all accounts, the gathering was a success. I measure this by the hoarse voice and sore stomach muscles I had the day after, the result of spirited conversation and side-splitting laughter, two important components of wellness as far as I'm concerned. But there was also a sense of rejuvenation that lasted long into the week, emanating from genuine connection and belonging that comes from being in the community of our extended village. We share a humble family lineage, great-grandparents who immigrated from Italy, grandparents who lived through the Great Depression and gave birth to the greatest generation, our parents, who wanted nothing more for their kids, us, than to live the American dream, meaning that we would have the opportunity to enjoy a higher standard of living than they did, something we each managed to do in our own way. What our family gave us was a legacy of love, good-heartedness, and a solid work ethic, instilled in roots that run deep to this day through our growing family tree of next generations. And there's no doubt in my mind that as we were kicking up our heels, our ancestors were smiling down on us, proud of a job well done, and reminding us that it's our turn to tend the legacy. So, here's my invitation for you. How might you be able to find a light-hearted way to reconnect with those you haven't seen in a while, to share old stories and make memories? It doesn't have to be fancy. Our recent gathering was a picnic with a 3-foot hero and a cooler of beer. The emphasis should be on having fun. And if you can, perhaps find ways to include the younger generations so that they have a better understanding of where they come from. That's something we hope to do next year when we gather again. Maybe it's just a function of age, but the old adage is true. Time is precious. When I look back at the last time our family had a reunion, it was 2006. So many of our elders from that gathering are no longer here, and we have the hindsight now to appreciate what that time together meant. Think of it as an investment in your family, no matter how big or small, no matter its makeup. However you define your family, whether by bloodline or unconditional love, schedule some quality time with them today. Someday in the future, you will be so glad that you did. Journal reflections. Who are the people who meant the most when you were growing up? How might you reconnect with that legacy? Are there recollections, pictures, or conversations you can have with those who can add to the storyline? And how might you share these stories with the next generation? You just listened to the post titled, The Importance of Gathering by Kathy Robinson of AthenaWellness.com.
The groundbreaking series is streaming Wednesday exclusively on Disney+.
You have removed your helmet. You are a Mandalorian no more.
I'm going to Mandalore.
There's nothing left.
All right, kid, you ready for an adventure?
May the Force be with you!
Don't miss
This is the way.
the epic return of The Mandalorian Season 3, streaming Wednesday only on Disney+.
And thanks so much to Kathy for this post and for sharing more about her background and family life. Kind of sounds as if her ancestors and mine might have come on the same boat. Very similar Italian background shared between us, though all of my ancestors ended up in Rhode Island. Now, she beat me to the punch with those reflection questions. Anyone who has been listening to me for a while, especially to my Q&As, know that those are my bread and butter. And therefore, one more that I might add to her great list is, what person do I want to become? And how can people from my past help me to do that? See, so now we are shifting into this position of really learning from these people, listening to them, and potentially making them more active presences in our lives beyond just the reunions. We might also flip the script and ask ourselves, how can I help them or team up with them to help them achieve their goals? We sometimes forget that these options are on the table, especially if we associate certain people with a time of life that has already passed. But anyone can and hopefully should grow over time. So we always have really enriching opportunities to get to know these people anew. Something to think about as we end for today, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today and every day. I hope this post spoke to you and encourages you to maybe call someone from the past. And definitely be sure to come back tomorrow for both our regular Sunday episode and our weekly bonus episode. That's where your optimal life awaits.